The four pillars of the spirit of MI are partnership, acceptance, compassion, and evocation. Partnership is the collaborative approach in search for ways to achieve a behavior change. Acceptance is having absolute worth, affirmation, autonomy, and accurate empathy are the key components of acceptance. This means understanding that each person has equal dignity, pointing out specific skills clients already have to provide a confidence boost that can influence behavior change, recognizing that decisions to change always need to come from the client, and taking an active interest in a client in an attempt to understand their perspective can be seen as empathy, which communicates acceptance and facilitates change. The third is compassion, and having compassion involves a genuine concern for the suffering of your client's feelings and things they're going through. Evocation is the counselor's responsibility to help clients discover their own motivation for change. The core skills are ORs. So the first one are open-ended questions, which are like, how did blank make you feel, and what change could you make? Affirmations are, I'm happy for you, I think it's healthy that you. Reflective listening is the third one. You mentioned, and I am hearing you feel. And then a summary is the overall conversation of what you heard and saw from the client throughout the session. When evaluating the importance and confidence in clients using scales, it's best to ask them to rate themselves and then ask why a number was high or why it was low, to maybe explore how they can make the number higher or lower. So if a client asks or rates themselves a 2 when they could be a 5, ask them, so why not a 5 instead of a 2? And they could better explain why they feel they're a 2 instead of a 5. We're going to be doing CBT, which is basically a triangle. Here's a picture of it. It's a triangle of feelings, thoughts, and behaviors. This triangle can be actually stopped if a counselor is effectively counseling. It includes like I said, feelings, thoughts, and behaviors. It is seen changing one of these categories can change the way the client thinks or feels. Okay.
Okay. Hello, how are you today?
Good.
My name's Jersey. What brings you in today?
I've had a lack of motivation with working out and just trying to stay fit. And I've seen that I've started to gain weight, and I'm becoming very discouraged and a little anxious that like I'll never lose it or change.
Okay. Can you tell me a little bit more about your past with exercising?
I was previously an athlete, and I would I would work out all the time. So like leaving the sport and not being able to participate in it anymore has like left me discouraged to want to work out because I was forced to most of my life. So now I feel that I don't need to anymore, and it's led to an unhealthy thinking of exercising.
Okay. So how are you doing now in terms of exercise? Do you walk? What kind of exercise are you hoping to take part in order to feel better?
I really want to start to like lift and like going to the gym more. I do walk occasionally, maybe like once every 2 weeks, like with my dog, but not very often. Most of the time, when I think about working out, I get very discouraged and scared people are going to judge me. And I see myself wanting to just stay in bed more than get out and go because I'm scared of the feeling of being tired or people looking at me.
Okay. Well, based on what I'm hearing, I believe that you are in the contemplation stage of all of the stages of change. So I'll go in to explain what all of those are so that you know kind of where you are in the process and how we can grow in the future. So pre-contemplation is the first stage of change where maybe you aren't sure that a behavior needs modified in the first place and you're pretty much unwilling to change, and that would mean that you have no intention of changing within the next 6 months. Contemplation would then be you've realized that there is a behavior that you would like to change, and you want to start thinking about how you could make that change, but you feel like there are a lot of obstacles, and I believe that that's where you would be. So then there would be preparation, where you plan for how you are going to take this action, but you're not yet taking the action. Then you would fall into the action stage, and within the action stage, you would start, in your case, doing the action, weightlifting or walking more, just generally getting more exercise, or it could even be seeing that would include seeing a change in your physique maybe. And then maintenance would be that you have been in the action stage for from 1 day all the way to 6 months, and then the very end of the stages of change would be termination, where you've exceeded the 6 months and you feel like it is now a habit that you don't think will ever change, and you don't feel like you need help achieving the modified behavior any longer because it's just innate. So I believe, like I said, that you're in the contemplation stage because you feel like there are some obstacles in your way, but you really want to achieve this difference in your life. So what I've told you about the stages of change, do you agree that you're in the contemplation stage, or would you argue that you fall into a different category a little bit more?
I would agree with you that I'm in contemplation. Like, it's been a thought in my head, and like I want to do it, but it's more of like the feelings and the nervousness holding me back.
Okay, so then within all of the things that are going on in your life, where do you believe that the importance of exercising falls? From 1 to 10? 1 being the least important, 10 being the most important.
I think it is about an 8.
An 8? That's pretty high.
Yeah.
Why not a 6?
Because I really believe that your health is the most important thing, and it's the thing that will keep you alive the longest and feeling the best. So for me, not wanting to or like feeling scared to, I just feel that it's like scary that I'm not doing it, so I'll put it at an 8 because it's that important to me.
Okay. So then on the flip side, how do you rate your confidence in achieving this? Would it be a 1, least confident, and then 10, very confident?
I would rate it a 6.
Okay, that's pretty high. That's great. So then I think that you are very goal-oriented, and it sounds like you have a history of exercising, and you kind of just fell out of it, and that's perfectly normal. But I think that it'll be very easy to get back into it and actually really enjoy it. Once you overcome these obstacles and realize that they are not more important to you than your goal. And there is a theory called the cognitive behavioral theory that puts your thoughts, feelings, and behaviors in a big triangle, and each one, as it changes, affects all of the others. So it is a triangle, but really it moves like a circle. They all are interconnected. So if you were to change the way you thought about this behavior, you may become more willing in terms of taking the action, and vice versa with all the other pieces. So if your feelings changed, if you felt like after 1 week of exercising, you were noticing the benefits of exercising, then your feelings about the way you look, the way you feel might change and cause the whole circle to become a really healthy balance. And I think that you're maintaining a healthy balance, although you're lacking the motivation. So I think that your thoughts on your behavior are very healthy, and I'm glad that you're here. So what do you think would be a fair solution? How do you if you weren't to meet with me today, how would you go about finding a solution to this issue?
I would probably try to give myself a goal. What that goal would be, I don't know, but maybe like with walking, I guess maybe trying to walk once a week instead of once every 2 weeks, like with my dog, like on a day where I'm not doing a lot, to go out, or in the morning before I have stuff to do, to go out and walk with him for 15-20 minutes and then come back home.
Okay. I think that's a really good place to start. I think increasing the frequency just a little bit at a time, instead of being gung-ho about exercising every day for an extended period of time, I think fitting it into your routine will be really great for you. So let's start there. So I know that you are feeling like there are a lot of obstacles and there may not be a big motivator for you to start exercising again. And that can be difficult, but it is clearly important to you. You said on the scale that it was an 8. So I'm sorry.
It's okay.
I'm losing my train of thought. Okay, so after hearing how you would handle the situation, I think that that's a really great start. And based on your explanation of why you came in today and why you feel like the behavior needs to be changed, I think that you're on a really great track to make great progress. So do you think that we could meet in the middle and kind of do 2 days a week? You go for a longer walk than normal, 2 days a week, maybe? Or do you feel like that's really pushing it?
No, I feel like that's a good place to start.
Okay, great. Well, then.
Thank you.
Yeah, have a great day.
Thanks.
Yes.